I'm Jess Strongman and I'm a cancer thriver. To start off with, I realised that I had a lump in my breast and I kind of thought it's hormones, it's nothing very much. Left it for a month and then it became sore and it had rapidly increased in size, so I thought I better go and see my GP. GP said probably nothing, but we'll get you referred anyway. I went into the Mermaid Centre and had a mammogram, and then I was taken straight in for an ultrasound and a biopsy. I had 4 different biopsies all on the same day as the mammogram. And as you can imagine, that was kind of my first little alarm bells going off, that I thought something's not right. And although I kind of thought before, well, I've got a lump and you associate lumps with bad things, didn't actually let it enter my head that it might be cancer. And after the ultrasound of the biopsy, I said to the sonographer, "What do you think?" And she said, "I can't tell you, but I think I know." And I said, "Well, what do you think you know?" And she said, "I think it's cancer." And I said, "How sure are you?" And she said, "I'm 90% sure." Thereafter, within 2 weeks, so it all happened really quickly, within 2 weeks from the ultrasound and biopsy, I was in chemo. I've been told within those 2 weeks that yes, it was definitely cancer. It was invasive. I had to go for MRI scans, had to have ECGs, echocardiograms, lots of different things, because the treatment that I was going to be put on would drastically affect my heart. So I had to make sure that my heart was fine. I had to have bone and liver scans and kind of different bloods to make sure that actually my body was strong enough to be able to cope with the treatment that they wanted to put me on. I met my consultant, so my surgical consultant, and he said with the type of cancer that it is, it's HER positive, so HER positive, which means basically that it's hormone responsive, so it's responsive to estrogen and progesterone, and it's quite an invasive kind of tumour. It's one of the most invasive you can have. He said that prognosis is good because I'm young, I am fit, and basically he said you're going to go through the next 6 to 8 months of pure hell, but he said thereafter you'll live until you're 80. My sole, even now, my sole focus was my kids. So I went from being a normal person, if you like, having a normal life and doing everything and not worrying about anything, to within the course of 10 seconds, you hear those words cancer and your world just shrinks. It disappears. And all of a sudden, life wasn't about me. It was about my children. It was about my mum, my dad, my brothers, like the people that I love in my life. And I think at that moment, I immediately knew that my grounding was my children, that I had to be brave because of my children and my family and everybody that I loved. I thought, do I actually have a life? Do I not have a life? I don't know. I don't know now what's the future. So for somebody that's always been very clear in what they want to achieve and what they want to do, and always being able to not see the future, but know what I want to do next, it was just the world opened up from underneath me, and I didn't have any stability. I didn't know what to expect. Didn't know if I was even going to have a next year. So I thought my family has to come first, my loved ones have to come first, and I have to give them good memories about me, because I didn't want to think about anything else. After my first chemotherapy session, I decided that I didn't want to keep brushing my hair and have clumps of hair fall out. So I took control of what I could and I shaved my hair off. So I then decided that actually I was going to face it as positively as I could, and just thought actually every day is a new day. Start again, start again, start again. Telling my kids was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. And that I did that before I had chemo, because I wanted them to know before I started to look different. Their dad was brilliant. He did it with me, and we went through Macmillan, the Cove, and they were amazing. They gave us a box to kind of go through, and basically like these little toys and different exercises and activities that would help kids understand. So I actually gave them, both my kids, one of those boxes, and did what the Macmillan people said: just be really open, really honest, don't kind of hide anything. So I said to them, "Mummy's got cancer." First thing they said was, "Are you going to die?" So trying to be really brave, I said, "I am going to die at some point, but not from cancer. Cancer is not going to kill me." And we all had a bit of a cry and then carried on. So when I shaved my head, then my kids were part of that. So Violet wasn't very well, so I said to her when she was at home, cut the back of my hair, because I had long hair before. Cut the back of my hair off so you can be part of it. And then Isaac came with me to Iconic, and Isaac kind of cut the most of it off at the back. And then at the weekend, I just shaved it all off. So I think that was when I first started to really think about my identity and be more self-conscious about it, I think. At this point, it was still just a lumpectomy. So I wasn't really thinking of anything worse. And then one evening, my mum and I were sat down, we were just having a conversation, and this one evening she said to me, what's worst case scenario? And I said, having to have a mastectomy. Or I said, actually, that's not worst case. I said, worst case would it spread to my lymph nodes and it's transient around my body. So we then kind of talked about what that would mean, went back a step, what it would mean if I had to have a mastectomy, went back a step. So we kind of explored all options. So I'd kind of got this in my head that actually, do you know what, having a mastectomy isn't the worst thing. Having it in my lymph nodes is. So that was at the end of November, maybe beginning of December last year. And then I went for my monthly kind of, when you're in chemo, you have monthly checkups with your surgeon and your oncology, if not 2 weekly. So I went for my monthly appointment with the prof, who was my surgeon, and he said from the MRI results, it's actually spread. It's not just focal point, it's not one mass, it's actually several. So I said, okay, well, just take it off. Don't care, take it off. And he said, well, that's one way of doing it. And I said, it's got to go. If that's the case, I don't want to risk anything. So at that point, just before Christmas, I knew that I was going to be having a mastectomy. I, again, came back to my self-identity, and at this point, I was starting to hold fluid. I had lost my hair. I was having cracked fingers, cracked nails, cracked feet. Everything, like extremities, was struggling. So my self-identity then came into it again. Because I was swelling, none of my clothes were fitting, I looked and felt like I had a football head, because literally everything just swelled. And I didn't really feel like me. I didn't want to do anything at all because my energy was really low. So the physical effects of the chemo and hormone therapy made me feel really rubbish. And that was just like the fun stuff. The other stuff was even worse. But I think I just kept thinking it's only for today, tomorrow's another day. February it got really hard. So February was kind of month 5 of chemo, and that got really hard. I got vertigo pretty much consistently for the whole of February. So I had to do my little boy's party, feeling really rubbish, but his dad again was brilliant, and my partner was brilliant. Mum, dad, obviously all my loved ones, they were fantastic, and at this stage I was barely able to walk my dogs. So then again the self-identity comes in, like you don't have, from being in October a normal person with a job, a life, a social life, kids, like a busy diary, to then kind of 4 months later having nothing, not being able to drive my car because I can't concentrate, not being able to read with the kids because the lines all blur because I'm that tired, to literally not even being able to walk my dogs. Your whole world really shrinks, and I don't think people understand that. I think that everybody says positive things and they say, oh, well, it's a free boob job, and when you get reconstruction, you get a tummy tuck as well. And I went along with all that because I thought, yeah. And then you get home and it's quiet and you don't see people and you think, it's not, it's an amputation. Like, it is an amputation, it's part of your body being removed. I'm aware enough that people did feel very uncomfortable. People still feel uncomfortable now. And I mean, this week I went into the office and somebody said about them getting sunburn on their boobs. And I said, well, at least you got one. And I was meaning it very lightheartedly and left. And then she nearly cried. And I said, that's not what, I wasn't meaning to kind of upset you. I'm just meaning to try and find light of the situation, because actually I'm now a uni boober. That's what I am. this will be the first step that I've actually shown very many people. My surgeon said it's healed beautifully, and it might sound really strange to say that I'm a uni boober, but that's part of it. Like, I've had a mastectomy, and I can tell you about surgery as well, but I've had a mastectomy and I'm embracing that. I was just so relieved to be out of surgery, and the nurse that took me into surgery said, "You're having this really strong painkiller." She said, "You'll say some funny things." I came out of surgery and said, "I didn't say anything funny, I didn't say anything funny." And then I got home, and because it was a bank holiday, my surgeon saw me and said, "There's no reason surgically why I can't get home." So that was it in my head. I was going home. And my nurse said to me, "Can you eat a piece of toast?" I said, "Yes, absolutely," thinking I don't want to eat anything, I just feel sick. So I ate the toast and then got up, got dressed and said, "There you go, look, see?" And promptly was sick everywhere. So she said, "You can't go home." And I said, "I can, give you another piece of toast." I said, "I just drunk too much water." I ate it, kept it down for nearly 2 hours. And then she said, "Okay, you can go home then." All I wanted to do was get home, see my dogs and get into my bed. And I got home and I saw Mum, and the relief of actually being home and thinking I've got through it. I've gone through chemo, I've gone through diagnosis, chemo and surgery, and I'm now home. I'm out the other side. It was phenomenal. And all I did was cry. I think the first kind of milestone, which I missed out actually, was after chemo you get to ring a bell, and you think it's ringing a bell, it's nothing very much, but it was literally the sound of the bell is to celebrate anybody that's gone through the chemo journey. And when I rang my bell, there was 4 whole wards full of people and everyone cheered and I cried. And yeah, I think there's just those kind of points that you think, I've got this far, I've survived, and then surgery after surgery, that was the biggest thing, that I was actually home and I saw my mum and I just cried. And I saw my dogs and I cried, and everything kind of comes out, and it's that kind of, you don't realise how much you've held yourself until that happened. And then I had 6 weeks I had to wait for my lymph nodes to be assessed and the pathology to come back. And I didn't sleep the night before I had to go and see my surgeon, the prof. And when I went in, he started making small talk and I didn't hear any of it. And he just said, "You want to know, don't you?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, I'm very pleased to tell you, you are cancer clear." And although it was really positive, I just burst out crying again, because I just thought, I've come through it, and that is the official kind of, I've got through it, I've survived, and I can now live my life. And I think the words, you're cancer clear, are as strong as the words you've got cancer. Both at opposite ends of the spectrum, but they're still just the most amazing words. I don't know what he said for the rest of the half an hour consultation. I don't know, but the main thing was that I was cancer clear, and that was the important part. I joined a group which is called Flat Friends, and it's a group of women that are post-mastectomy, or they're going kind of through surgery for one reason or another. And I met new friends and they were amazing. And everything that I was experiencing, someone had gone through. So it was, rather than saying to my surgeon or to my breast care nurse, "I'm experiencing this, what can help?" and them going, "Oh, well, you could try that, or more steroids," which it didn't really help. Some of the breast care nurses were absolutely phenomenal, and they would suggest alternative therapies. They would just suggest things that would work with my life, and others would just take more medicine, take more steroids, take more drugs. And that's not me. That's really not me. So Flat Friends was a revelation, and no matter what the question, what time, there was somebody there to answer. So it felt like, although I had all my family, but and loved ones, but I couldn't talk to them about everything. And the things that I couldn't talk to them about, because I didn't want to upset them, or didn't feel comfortable, or it's the middle of the night and I'm worrying about having tingly feet, I couldn't talk to them about that, but actually I could go online and talk to flat friends, and there'd be someone that could come back and say, don't worry, this is what to do, elevate your feet, or keep wiggling, or get out and walk around, or just do something different. So there was always somebody there. So it was amazing. And they still continue to be. They are now a little bit more widely known about within the Mermaid Centre, which is fantastic, because this week the prof, when I had my follow-up, 6-month follow-up, he said, are you part of Flat Friends? And I said, yes, I am. And it was almost like a badge of honour that all of us kind of, I don't know about all of us, but that I now carry, that actually I have come through diagnosis, I've come through chemotherapy, hormone therapy, I've been immunosuppressed, I've gone through surgery, and actually I'm now 6 months on, and I don't think I've got my old life back. I think I'm still mourning that. I'm still mourning my old life, and the life that I had prior to my cancer diagnosis, I don't think I'm ever going to be the same. Cancer changes you. Every ache, every pain, any kind of fever, any illness, any itch, you kind of think, oh, is it? Could it be? And even though I've had my breast removed, I've had my lymph nodes removed, I am now still taking medication for the next 5 to 10 years to mop up anything that might be around, and I'm having 6 monthly checks. There's still that fear. There's still the could it be? And I think that's possibly something that will always stay with me. As much as I think, no, it's not. I've not got any lumps, no bumps, nothing at all. I'm being checked. I'm having regular blood tests. I'm having regular scans. Everything's kind of as much as I can do. There's never a certainty. So I just have to put that to the back of my mind and think, right, let's focus. I now have a future. I now can spend a future with my loved ones, with my kids, my family, my friends. I can actually have a future, and I can look to the future again. And that's why I think that I believe I'm a cancer thriver, because I'm thriving from cancer. I'm not a survivor, because that makes me sound like a victim. I am a thriver, and I'm going to enjoy my life, what feels like I've been given a second life. Some people have said to me, do you feel let down by your body? No, not at all. I mean, it's amazing. It's given me 2 beautiful kids, and it's still carrying me through my life now. So no, I don't feel let down by my body at all. I think it is the most amazing thing, and I just have to be kind to it and look after it. And I would say I'm 6 months on and waiting for my mammogram results for my second breast, and whether I actually have surgery on that one. So I think I don't care. I do care, but I don't care what I look like. I've gone through all that stuff of not having any hair, being swollen, and then kind of confronting the social issues about actually you only have one boob. Does that really matter? What's the purpose of them? Like, other than aesthetic and breastfeeding, there isn't really a purpose for them. It's all sexual and social. So that doesn't bother me anymore. I think before I had cancer, I was very much kind of, I hadn't even thought about it. Like, you have 2 and you just take it for granted. And now I only have 1. I just think, actually, I'm not defined by my cup size. I'm defined by my thoughts, my deeds, and the people that love me. And that's really powerful. It's very powerful.